All right. I want to start this off by saying, uh, spoilers for an old movie that mostly everybody I know has ever seen. So yeah, it's the movie Cluck. If you haven't seen that movie, highly recommend it. I'll stop by, you know, I'll give up. If you haven't seen it, don't keep watching. If you don't want to be spoiled. Um, so yeah, um, so I typically go onto a website to try to figure out what personality types people are, and I saw one of the entries as Adam Sandler's character being an ENTJ, and to me that it was funny because I could think of nothing he could be. I don't see him as an ENTJ, and I'll give a good explanation as to why. Here's my argument. The entire movie is predicated on him having emotional outbursts of, like, he seems to. So, like, the reason why I say FI is because FI and FE, right? FI is more cut off from everyone else. Like, they have their own way of feeling about things, and they cut themselves from everyone else, and this is how they feel, right? And typically that's balanced out by having extroverted thinking, which in ISFPs is the fourth function out of four. So, not really great with expressing themselves, and they just, well, with Adam Sandler's character, he was very angry, and he wanted something, he would go out of his way to acquire it, right? So, so in the movie, he, like, we watch his entire life story about how he struggles to get what he wants. And in it, he goes, in the very beginning, he wants to get this position and everything, and he meets death, right? And he gives him a remote to where he goes, he could fast forward through the life events that he doesn't want to partake in. So to me, that's kind of a good illustration of tertiary introverted intuition, which is the sense of introverted intuition in INFJs, INTJs are going to be the dominant function, and they're going to be more something that is, it leads their life, right? They're more focused on achieving their goals, getting to the destination, trying to figure out, like, the long-term patterns, and trying to really get to where they need to go. So, and one of the reasons why it's like, so with ENTJs, for example, since that's what I'm saying that he isn't, you're going to have more fluidity with NI, right? There's more comfortableness with the strange and the unexpected. With him, it's like he doesn't even register, right? He normally takes part in his world, in his daily activities, and his extroverted sensing, right? He does a lot of, like, he farts in people's faces, he like slaps people, and he's mostly living in the moment, but he's more focused on his introverted intuition in the movie, which I would argue is him attempting to use his introverted intuition. So, and that's the thing, it's like, when you're dealing with your personality, when you are just being you are going to oscillate between the second and third function most of the time, and your first function is the one you do without even trying, without even thinking about it. Right? This is why a lot of people get confused with personality types. They don't see how their dominant function takes the steering wheel and just keeps going, right? So in the movie, he really doesn't see how, like, from an observer perspective, right? You see all of the movie, and he has no idea about how his reaction to things affects his world, right? That's a separate topic, but in a gist, for the sake of argument, let's just, I could probably go into a deeper dive of that, but like to sum it up, he doesn't see how his introverted feeling affects the world around him, right? He's just reacting to things. He's personally offended. Everything just kind of happens to him. So, and then he oscillates between getting what he wants and then being in the moment. And him being given the remote is an exacerbation of sacrificing his second function. And then when he gets to the end, he realizes that he sacrificed his second function. I mean, granted, he's this, the movie's a little, the movie's like more story, right, than what I'm explaining, but this is understanding it from a categorical perspective. He is, he realizes that the end, he never experienced his extroverted sensing. He only experienced his introverted intuition, which was to get to the goal, with sacrificing his second function. So I think that's a good illustration of like the understanding of an ISFP is this sense of looking at the end goal and being scared that they haven't, they've kind of lost their SE way and they haven't lived in the moment. And I would argue that, so in conclusion, Click is the story about an ISFP, not an ENTJ. And that's my argument.